Milestone 2. The agenda for this presentation is three things. What is my project? What have I done? What will I be doing? Firstly, what is my project? So the project I'm working on is duplicate question and maybe expert detection in online communities. And the whole goal of this project is, can we reduce the clutter that we have on, say, Piazza, Google+, or Reddit using online learning, which aims to adapt based on context. For example, on Google+ right now, within the community, you'll have a lot of questions about registration because there is a lot of new students who are starting next year. On Piazza, this might look like you will have a lot of noise during assignment time. And then after the assignment is due, and then maybe you have a mid-semester exam, the context will change. In either case, you would want the model to adapt to both of these cases. The data sources I'm using for Milestone 2 is the Stack Overflow dataset, which I used in Milestone 1, and also Reddit. The reason I'm using Reddit is more for convenience. There is a nice API for Reddit. There isn't a nice API for Google+. And if I was to compare it with Piazza, well, unfortunately, I don't have the manpower to manually go through Piazza data. And it's much easier using the Reddit data based on registration questions and questions that new students have, sorry. So the next part, what have I done? Within Milestone 1, I already created text features, latent zero-lich allocation, latent semantic indexing, and word-to-vec. In Milestone 2, it's all about, can I create a training set and can I build a simple model? Firstly, what is a training set and what does it look like? The training set, which was described by one of the papers who did something similar, is all about pairwise comparison. Essentially, we have the posts, the new post that's coming in, we have another post that we think is a duplicate of that one, and finally, well, we have the label to say whether it is a duplicate or not. Well, how are they labeled? For Stack Overflow, I simply use the Stack Exchange web app, which will spit out all the duplicate queries. And for Reddit, I just manually labeled 30 duplicates, and that seemed to be good enough for now. You might be thinking 30 is a bit small, but remember that we're doing pairwise comparison of every single question. So it's essentially doing a Cartesian join, which means that the number of posts and the number of rows in your training set grows quite quickly. In this case, we had 30 pair of labeled posts, and that grew to over 650 rows within our training dataset. Remember that you can only link posts up based on if the post that you're trying to match with the post in question occurred before it. You can't have duplicate questions of future data, which is, if you're doing any kind of maths, you might think that that number might be a bit small, but it's actually okay. In terms of how I approached modeling, I just used an out-of-the-box random forest, part of the scikit-learn library, managed to get a recall of 0.9 for both the Stack Overflow and Reddit, though the Reddit one obviously might be overfitting because I only used 30 data points. I'll definitely go back and label more and try it out, and just to make sure that it generalizes well. If you're interested in pretty graphs and the like, well, here we have the variable importance graph for, this would be the Stack Overflow. You can see that the important things is really the LDA stuff, whilst the other ones don't have as much influence. Whilst for the Reddit posts, it's much more balanced, even with 30 data points. That's the result of my Milestone 2, essentially. Which leads to, well, what would I be doing now? Firstly, I want to see how well this model generalizes. Does it actually answer the questions which people have, right? And can I use the corpus of FAQ questions, even though I haven't really labeled all of them? Remember, there were 137 questions, and I only labeled 30 points. Though some of the points I gave them multiple questions, as I will show you here. So, for example, in this question, I gave it I gave it the idea of one question that we might be interested in, whilst for these ones, I gave it 2 questions, and so forth. But I definitely didn't use all 137 questions, which I have here. So there were 137 questions which I compiled. And then the question is, does this actually generalize well to the other questions which might not have been answered? If it does, well, can I actually build a Reddit bot which answers a lot of these questions automatically? And I suppose, well, if that works, can I go back to the original idea that I said maybe I might do? Can I detect experts within Reddit to help grow the corpus of questions automatically? So there was a paper that was linked within Piazza about how do we detect experts, or how do we detect super users in MOOCs. If we do detect a super user within, say, the Reddit community, and we see that they have high upvoted answers to various posts, maybe we can add to the corpus of questions I have here, maybe we can add their answers. And if we can add their answers, maybe we can automatically grow this corpus of questions, and then by extension, we can also improve how we reduce the amount of clutter that people have on these forums. And with that, that is essentially where I'm at with Milestone 2 and where I'm going. Hope you enjoyed that. If you do want to see how the code was implemented, my GitHub repository will be in the PDF that you probably clicked on this link to view this video.